What's up, guys? You're watching the Foot and Fist Sports Network, and this is the Copa America Centenario preview show. Let's go ahead and start off previewing Group A that features the United States, Paraguay, Costa Rica, and Colombia. Now, Colombia is one of the best teams in the tournament. They have a superstar like James Rodriguez leading them. They did very well in the recent World Cup, and they are odds-on favorites to get past this group stage. It's going to be a big battle between Paraguay, Costa Rica, and the United States to see who can finish second. Now, the United States are playing at home, so they do have a bit of an advantage. However, I don't think that the American crowd is going to give them that much of an advantage because I just don't think that soccer is at the stage where the American crowd is going to have that much of a difference that much of an influence really on how things go on the field. So I think that Costa Rica, who have a player like Joel Campbell, are going to be very, very, dangerous. They got past the group stage in the World Cup when they had a group with England and Italy. So that just shows you that they are a very dangerous team, a team to look out for. Whereas Paraguay, a few years ago they were okay, but at this point I don't think that they're as dangerous as they used to be. They have a couple good players here and there, but I just don't think they're going to be at the level of, say, the United States. And I think Costa Rica have a pretty good base for counterattacking, and it's going to be between those two to see who moves on to the next round. I just think that the United States are going to edge it out because we have more talented players as a whole. Costa Rica have Joel Campbell, who is probably, better than any player we have, but we have a more complete team. We have Tim Howard in goal, who is an excellent goalkeeper. We have Clint Dempsey, who is always good. We have Michael Bradley, who is one of the best American players of all time, I would say. We have Jermaine Jones, who's a great player. We have quite a few good players out there who are going to help us get past the group stage, and I think that it's going to be Colombia first with all wins throughout the group, and I think the United States are going to finish second with 6 points. We have Brazil, Haiti, Ecuador, and Peru. Now, I'm not too sure which second team is going to come out here, but without a doubt, Brazil have to be the favorites to make it out in first place. I don't think they'll have any problems with any of the teams that I mentioned, and I just think they're going to have an easy 9 points out of these 3 games, and they're going to move on to the second round pretty easily. Now, Peru and I would say Ecuador are probably going to be battling out to see who is second, because Haiti, they are one of those teams that usually takes a beating in these tournaments. With all due respect to Haiti, I just don't think they're going to make it past the group stage. Neither does Peru, really. I think Ecuador just have a better team. They have a guy like Antonio Valencia, who, playing for Manchester United, is a very good player. He's one of the better players, or better wingers in the Premier League. Maybe not. He's not, quite an amazing player, but considering the level of Haiti and Peru, he should be more than enough to lead his team to pass the group stage. And I think it's going to be interesting to see if they do manage to, get past the weaker teams, or if they're going to slumble. But without a doubt, it's going to be Brazil and then probably Ecuador. Next up, we have Group C, which is also a pretty good group, much like Group A, with Venezuela, Mexico, Jamaica, and Uruguay. This is going to be a very close group as well, because Uruguay have Edinson Cavani and Luis Suarez. They also have, I think, Diego Godin. But overall, they aren't a very, very good team. They're pretty good, but they aren't that great. They have a really good offense, but they don't have a complete team. Now, much like that is also Mexico. Mexico have some good players. They have Chicharito Hernandez up front, who has really come out of his shell at Bayern Leverkusen, has been playing like a monster. They also have Giovanni Dos Santos, who is usually pretty talented. We all know about him. He used to be the next Ronaldinho back in his Barcelona days. Didn't quite pan out to be the next Ronaldinho, but he's still a very talented player, and he's good at this level. So I think that Mexico is just going to have enough to keep up with Uruguay, because of the fact that Luis Suarez isn't even sure if he's going to be able to make it, because he got hurt in the recent friendly, and right now it looks like he's probably not going to be at the tournament. So that would be a big boost, not just for Mexico, but for all the other teams, because Luis Suarez is a monster, and this is a good chance for a team like Mexico, and even a team like Venezuela, who also, they aren't that great, but they have a decent team. Not quite as good as Mexico or Uruguay, but they do have an okay base, and if Uruguay can stumble, just because they lose a player like Luis Suarez, who is really their main guy, who is the guy that's going to give them everything at this point at this tournament. They have a chance of sneaking themselves in the second place. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to finish Uruguay, then Mexico. But it really does depend on what happens to Luis Suarez. I say if Luis Suarez doesn't show up, then Mexico will be first. If he does show up, then it's going to be easily Uruguay, top of the group stage. Last but not least, we have another okay group. We have Argentina, Panama, Bolivia, and Chile. Now, obviously, Argentina are the favorites in the tournament in general. They're just the favorites. They got to the World Cup final. They have players like Messi. They have Gonzalo Higuain, who's a monster. They have Lavezzi. They have Pastore. You know, the list goes on and on of their attacking powers. However, they do have a pretty weak defense. Their goalkeeper is pretty dog shit, if I'm honest, even though he is a Man United player. I have to be honest. He's known for making big mistakes in big games, and he's just not that great a keeper. Their midfield also isn't particularly strong. They have some good players, but they're just not at the level necessary to be with a team like Germany and stuff like that. So luckily for them, Brazil are also not that great a team. We saw what happened to them at the World Cup. They have some really good players, especially up front. Neymar, the usual suspects, but they just aren't that much. They aren't that great of a team. I think that Argentina are going to be able to run away against Panama without a doubt, and probably even against Bolivia. However, Chile is a very tough opponent. Chile have players like Arturo Vidal, Edu Vargas. They have Mauricio Pinilla. They have some very good players. It's going to be very interesting to see these two teams go head-to-head once again. This is probably my favorite game of the group stages so far. I think when it comes to their matchup, they are very entertaining teams. A lot of attacking potential there. And I just think that Argentina is probably going to get all 9 points in this one as well. Probably going to edge out a 1-0 win. Because we've seen there are a lot of goals in their team, but when they go against the top teams in the world, or in this case in America, they just don't seem to be able to really power in those goals, and they do sometimes concede because of how fragile their defense is. However, I think they're going to be good enough to get past this, and that's it for the group stage. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments section down below if you disagree with anything I said. Hope if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel. There's a lot of good content coming to this channel. Things are getting better, I have some new stuff on the way, and I'm just trying to improve the channel as I go on. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Players.